Welcome to the Warren Cycling Podcast. My name is Dean Warren. I'm in Wiesbaden, Germany.
And I'm Randy Warren, and I'm in Asheville, North Carolina.
Yeah, this is the Warren Cycling Podcast, episode 334. It's the 20th of September, and we've kind of let a few weeks go by during one of the rare occasions where American. It's the first time that's happened since we started podcasting in 2016. So we got pictures of the first stage, well, on the day of the first stage, and the celebration behind you of after the finish. So we're going to definitely talk about Sepp Kuss's win the Vuelta Espana, catch up a little bit on the European Championships, which it seems kind of funny. It's kind of in the almost the time slot now, maybe that the World Championships would be. They switched those around. I don't know when the European Cycling Championships usually are, but that's going on. And got a few more, just really a couple more races coming up. So we'll talk about that. And you've got Gravel World Championships in Venice coming up. We were just talking before we started recording that I was able to get a Venice trip. So I'll try to make my way to see you finish the race. Maybe a little bit, maybe go by before the finish, but looking forward to that too.
Yeah, so 8:17 was the European Continental Championships last year.
So just a little bit later than what the World Championships were this year. Yeah. Almost stretching to that time, the beginning of August. So yeah, they got some riders still in top form. The riders getting ready for the last big push for the Il Lombardia. I think there's a race in Japan still. Not too much left. I mean, there's a few races coming up before Lombardia too, in Italy, right?
Always racing. They're racing in Luxembourg right now, and so there's through Luxembourg, and then there's so actually I was reading about the Olympic qualifying spots, which they finalized I think at the end of October, 1st of November. In USA, actually, is in a good spot to get 3 riders now in the Olympics. There's fewer men racing in this Olympics than there has been recently because they have parity between the men's and women's for next year. So the same number of men and women. So it'll be 80 men, 80 women racing. And normally there's a lot more men racing than that. In the Olympics, the IOC did not give cycling more spots. And so there'll be fewer men. So the biggest team will be 4 men on a team. And I think same thing, 4 women on a team for the top couple of teams. And the United States right now are in a spot where they get 3 men. And
winning a Grand Tour by U.S. men might have helped that.
Yeah, definitely helped. Yeah. And actually, I talked to USA Cycling recently because there's some Pan Am game races coming up, and we aren't sending a men's road or a men's mountain bike team, but we're sending everything else. Instead, we didn't qualify for those. And so I said, hey, doesn't this affect our Olympic slots? They said, no, that's the Pan Am Championships or something else like that, and we already did that. But we do have 2 spots for men and women on the time trial, and that's the most you can have for that too. So we're not quite to the maximum we can get, but we're the last team who gets 3 spots, but it's a pretty safe spot for that too. So, but they said though, some of the Tour Langkawi and some of those races in Asia might affect things a little bit. So there's those races coming up in Asia that still getting UCI points, and some of the teams on the bottom that have 1 rider or 2 riders or no riders, maybe we'll go over there and try and race as much as they possibly can and scrape in with another rider or 2.
Wow. 80 though, that's fairly small peloton. Yeah. And if you have like many riders coming from non-traditional cycling countries and only like 3 from the big powerhouses, it's going to make some pretty interesting dynamics in the race. There won't be any teams, anybody really be able to control the race very well, will it?
No, I think the top teams have 4, and there's only 4 teams that have 4, and even the host country, France, can't add. They get 2 spots automatically because of the host nation status, but they can't go more than 4. So that they already have 4. I think they're at 3 or 4 right now. If they have 4 though, then those spots are allocated to someone else. So it's not like before where when we held the Olympics in '96 in Atlanta, I think we had 7 or 8 racers in the road race. It was a huge field because the 2 spots got added on top of what we already had, which was 4 or 5 racers. It was so it's not that way this year because they've got a hard limit of I think 160 people that can do the road race, and the time trial people this year have to come from the road race people too. So you can't have someone coming just to do the time trial. So it's gonna be different for sure next year. Yeah. But all this kind of affects it too. So like you said, Sepp Kuss winning the Grand Tour was a huge impact in terms of bumping up us as a nation, and maybe gave us, from that 3 spot to a 2 rider spot to a 3 rider spot, because we only had 2 people since at least Rio.
Wow. And won't that bump some other buddy down then if they're a maximum of 80 riders? I mean, if the U.S. goes up to 3, then that takes away from someone else then, right?
Well, yeah, we shifted spots with other people, so I can think where I saw that article, but we're in a better spot than we usually are, and in Britain I think was a 4-rider team, but they've dropped down to 3, so they're the same as U.S. now, and there's a couple of people that I think Spain took their spot because they had 2 riders that finished in the top 5 in the Vuelta, so that bumped them up above Great Britain, who didn't have a very good Vuelta, so
right. So
but they did
Josh Starling, who's the European time trial champion, who he was what, 3rd in the World Championships too?
3rd in the world, and the people that finished ahead of him, Ghana and Evenepoel, didn't race the time trial.
Right.
But he crushed it.
But so he's on the way up. He's young. He's great time trial. So you would think Britain would say, "Wow, man, we have a chance maybe to medal in the time trial." But then they have to put him on the road race team.
Exactly. Yep. You can't do the time trial just on his own. Yeah. And I was gonna look and see what his schedule's been like too, because he is gonna race some more this year, he said in his interview. But I'm not sure what he's done recently. Stefan Bissinger was 2nd, and he said he was really disappointed about his World and Volta time trials. So, so Josh Starling, who won by 43 seconds, I think, today over Stefan Bissinger, who had a great ride. He had apparently a tough first part of it and a really good second half, and then barely beat Wout van Aert by 0.4 seconds. He did the Renewy Tour, or is it in Belgium? I think REN.
It was the tour that replaced what used to be the Eneco Tour. And other names too. Yeah.
So he did win the stage 2 individual time trial there, but he was 11th in the youth classification and 114th overall. So it didn't really. He was he wouldn't
be probably much of a threat in the road race, but definitely a medal opportunity in the
time trial.
Yeah.
And they don't have to choose teams right now, obviously, but.
No, okay, we're getting way ahead to the Olympics of next year. We got really exciting news to talk about because we haven't mentioned anything. When we last talked, it was just the start of the Vuelta, and I think it was the Piccolo from EF Education who was in the red jersey. It swapped shoulders from a few different riders at the beginning, but then well, are you ready to move on? You want to talk something else about the the Olympics? We'll talk more about that next year. And you're going to be there, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Oh, and hopefully I'll watch men's, women's road race, men's, women's time trial. And I think one of the men's or women's.
And you had the road race course?
They
said
the road race
course released?
I think it is, because I saw an article that referenced a specific course. They said it was the Tibet something course, the TA or else too. So it's not like it was an established road race course that they are using.
Mm-hmm.
But it does go
probably not be too far from Paris, so I can't imagine it's going to have much climbing.
Starts downtown. Yeah, it starts on the I don't know if the Champs-Élysées right along the Seine, or it starts and finishes right there in the middle of the city. So so at least you'll have the start finish there. I'm not sure where the rest of it will go, but
I'd be more like a London 2012 Olympics where they had maybe a couple little climbs somewhere out on the out in the countryside, and then came back in and finished in the city.
Yeah, probably. Yep. Oh, here it is. I found the spot next month. Yeah. So yeah.
All right. So
I was thinking that it's kind of like, so it's like you always look forward to the next thing. As soon as something happens.
Yeah. It's old news.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said 80 spots. It's 88 spots. 88 spots the men and women have each of those, and then plus the 2 extra spots for the host country, so it's 90 in each race.
Yeah,
Right.
that still is pretty relatively small.
Yeah,
peloton.
But we're in that, and as a racer too. So I couldn't go to gravel nationals, which happened during, I think, since our break, because I had COVID, so I wasn't able to go. And then I did Gran Fondo nationals 2 days ago, or 3 days ago, and I flatted during one of the time segments, but I would have won
in Maryland.
In Maryland, yeah. So I had the fastest time in my age group, the first and second time segments, and the last time segment I rode completely by myself and was just a few seconds off of the fastest person in my age group there. So I'm sure I would have won overall, but it flatted in the third
one. In, so you could have flatted like in a non-time segment, yep. Fixed it, taken whatever time you needed, and then still potentially could have hit that good times.
It would have been tough because I would have been not with a good group of riders anymore, but it still would give me a shot.
A lot better than flatting.
Yes, yeah. But anyway, but the reason why I say that is just because immediately after the gravel nationals was I look forward to the Gran Fondo nationals, thinking, well, maybe I can at least win that one. And then as soon as that happened, I started looking forward to actually during the ride. I thought, okay, well, this is no longer a race for me to try and win this race, but it's a training ride for Gravel Worlds, which is coming up. So that's just I think the nature of the thing. So even though the Vuelta just finished, a fantastic result, first person since Chris Horner,
unbelievable, yeah.
The third U.S. person, fourth U.S. person, right? Whoever won a Grand Tour. So it'd be Le Mans, Hamilton, Horner, and now Sepp Kuss. And yet, then we always look forward to the Olympics.
So, absolutely right.
So behind, just real quick, behind that in the United States is Colombia, and they're like over a couple thousand points behind us. So I think that they shouldn't be a problem. And then ahead of us is Australia, and they're only 400 points ahead of the United States. So, but anyway, yeah. So it goes down to.
And where do you find this information?
This was on a cycling news article. So.
Okay. Very good. Okay, well, just for me, it's interesting because I planned out my vacations this year somehow to have a vacation for each of the Grand Tours.
I know what's up with that.
I don't know.
You obviously weren't considering the Grand Tours when you were doing your planning. So
I did make it.
You go on vacation like every couple of weeks. You're on vacation, so which is literally true, right? Every few weeks you're on vacation. So
every 6-7 weeks it's been something. I don't know. But I made it back to the end of the Giro at least, and then I thought I was going to make it back to the end of the Tour, which I didn't. Saw the beginning of the Vuelta, and I possibly could have gone to the last day if the trip had come up, or anyway. But so I'm following it though because we're in Greece. We're like only one time zone away from Spain, so. It's in the afternoon. I'm paying attention to what's going on either on the Pro Cycling Stats live feed. I think I did watch one day one of the stages. I can't remember now, but of course I'm following it, reading it, and Sepp won a stage, which was like, that's so awesome. He won another stage. He's been winning a Grand Tour stage every other year. So he won in 2019. A stage at the Vuelta.
When we did an interview with him in 2019, just before that, we did the interview
just before, right?
Just before this.
Yeah, when he was preparing for he hasn't talked to us since.
Well, he's talked to you at races.
I've talked to him on the side, but not really. Yeah. And then he won the stage at the Tour de France in 2021, so 2 years after the first Vuelta. And then this year, so it was his year to win another stage. I thought maybe, the Giro was unexpected call-up. It was Wilco Kellerman that had an injury, right?
Could be. I don't remember.
I was supposed to go to the Giro to set up. And it was like, okay, see how he recovers to do the Tour. Okay, he's recovered well enough. He's going to do the Tour. So, and then he was riding pretty well. I don't remember if he really had any close chances. I don't really to get a stage there. But, Jumbo, of course, won those first two Grand Tours. And then, see how he is after the Tour, because he was in top 10. He was, 7th, 8th place in the Tour until he crashed towards the end?
Yeah, I think it was 8th place when he crashed. And then he dropped to 12th, right? So still pretty well. But he lost a lot of time.
Really well. I mean, almost a top 10 at the Tour. That's quite amazing.
Without the crashing, for sure.
Yeah, so he gets to the Vuelta and like, okay, he's feeling good enough to start the Vuelta, and the Jumbo team was really stacked with having both Vingegaard and Primoz Roglic there. We're not sure what Vingegaard's form exactly because he hadn't really done a lot, but Primoz
He
looked
was
like
sick that
he had
first
pretty
year,
good
or
form.
that first week.
Yeah.
So so Vinegar was sick. That's one reason why I guess he said he was attacking the second week to show people that he was stronger than the first week showed. So
Yeah, but who can blame him for not being such primed to race another Grand Tour after winning the Tour, because still the Tour de France is the biggest race to win.
I thought.
So they get Sepp. I mean, that was that 42-man break, or that huge break that Jumbo had 4 riders or something, and drove it and really set up Sepp to gain it was over 3 minutes. But he didn't get the red jersey and winning his stage. And even when he was winning it, he wasn't like he was looking for time, because he was like high-fiving the fans.
Because he was really still at
finish.
that point still a support rider. He was still working for Indigo and Roglic. So yeah, he didn't think that, and then he dropped a little bit of time in the stages before that too. So he wasn't quite. I mean, Lenny Martinez was just a little bit ahead of him. So
yeah, well, FDJ had a better time trial too, because Vingegaard flatted, and so Jumbo wasn't that high up after the team time trial. So Lenny Martinez gets the red jersey, but Sepp was only like 8.
I think he's 19 years old too, or something. Isn't 19, 20?
Oh yeah, he's super young, super small.
Yeah,
like weighs
his dad was a world champion mountain biker, so
20 pounds. Yeah,
and
so
also,
that's a great story for France.
Yeah, and his dad also raced road. He shifted. It was a world champion mountain biker, and he switched to road, and he was really, really good, but never quite the success that he had on the mountain bike. But then his son, who is 20 now, he turned 20 on July 11th. So
what's it? Do you have his weight? How much does he weigh?
52 kilograms.
Probably in kilos, isn't it?
Yeah.
52. Wow. Like 125 pounds maybe or something. I don't know.
Yeah, he's a small guy.
Very light, small guy. Anyway, so, but then Sepp, I thought, he didn't quite, almost in the red jersey. It'd be great to have him just get to wear it, be a leader of a Grand Tour. We were so excited, not this past summer, the summer before, when it was so close for the U.S. to have a Tour de France leader's jersey with Nilsson Paulus. But that didn't quite happen. He was so close. But so Sepp gets the red jersey, and I'm thinking, all right. Yeah.
Martinez just kind of, he just couldn't. He really collapsed. Yeah. I mean, so he ended up 24th in the GC overall, but and even 9th in the youth classification. So he just really was at his limits. But Sepp is seasoned, Grand Tour rider, certainly can bounce back day to day, and just rode solid from there on.
Oh yeah. So he gets the red jersey. I'm thinking, okay, great. He gets to wear it. Couple days, I was looking, okay, when's the time trial? Oh, the time trial's coming up. He's going to lose a lot of time. Evenepoel is such a great time trial.
Yeah. But I think no one gave, so Sepp's never had to do a time trial at this level all out, because he's always been a support role for the mountains. He's never had any reason to go hard. I was very optimistic.
Actually, but he did pretty well in the time trials in the Giro and the Tour. Actually, too. But I still was thinking Evenepoel is going to crush it. But, wow.
He didn't even win. Evenepoel didn't even win the time trial.
Ghana won, yeah. And Sepp, didn't even lose that much time to Vingegaard at all. I mean, that was like one turning point.
Oh, for sure. He did it. Yeah. He did it. Yeah. He lost, he lost like 40 seconds or something like that to Evenepoel, but not the 2 minutes that people thought he might lose,
No, and then, but Evenepoel, so that was one key thing. The next key thing, though, was Evenepoel on the Tourmalet stage. I don't know what happened. I mean, I never got it. I don't, yeah. I mean, okay, riders have bad days. It always happened. I mean, you've seen it throughout the history, but it seems like in the more recent history, the top GC guys usually, okay, Taddy did have a couple bad days the last couple of years, but not like Evenepoel. Like, how much time did he lose on that Tourmalet? I mean, really lost quite a bit.
Yeah. he lost
more
like
after that.
6-7 minutes, and then he sat up in the last climb. So he was only, I think he was 7 minutes down going into the final climb, and he ended up 24 down at the end. So he basically sat up and let the gap really open at that point.
If he hadn't sat up, they would have been pretty crazy because all the breaks. I guess he wouldn't have been able to get those, but he would have caused a lot of havoc, maybe trying to do all the breaks and causing a lot of chasing. I don't know, but I mean, because he was crazy good after that.
But they let him go though. They never let him have that kind of, it would have been harder for Jumbo for sure, but they would have controlled Evenepoel much more.
They would have had to do a lot more work.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, it changed the whole dynamic of the race.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So, but I still wasn't thinking that Sepp was going to stay in the red. I don't know why. I mean, he was in the leader's jersey, and only the riders that were better than him really were his teammates. But for some reason, it wasn't in my mind so much that he would keep it. That he would. I don't know why. I didn't really think it through. Like they were going to attack him. I don't know. Like, and then what happened? I mean, like the emotional win because. A couple of emotional wins. It wasn't the day that Nathan Van Hooydonk was in a car crash and they, used that as a motivation to do well to win a stage. But although it wasn't Jonas trying to win because it was his daughter's birthday or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that's what they said. They were dedicating wins to that. Because after the time trial, the second place was Marc Soler, 26 seconds down.
Yeah.
Remco still 109. Then Roglic was 136. Then Lenny Martinez was 202. Almeida Vindigo was 222 at that point in seventh place. So there was, it was much different that day than it was after the Tourmalet day.
But in my mind, just from what I was watching, I wasn't still expecting Sepp. I wasn't thinking that he was going to really become their main guy. I mean, he wasn't. I mean, they're playing. Okay, so after the Angliru stage, the whole cycling media world and fans were pretty unified. I didn't hear anybody really supporting Jumbo having maybe a few things. I saw a couple of things. Okay, I mean the race should be decided on the road. I mean
strongest guy should win.
Yeah.
Which is so common what cycling is for other things. I mean, we've seen Froome wait for Wiggins, and we've seen, Le Mans wait for and we've seen all these other things happening, in the past. It's definitely people who have been stronger than their teammates. Even Sepp waiting for Roglic several times in different, Grand Tours, and Sepp waiting for even Vindigo even. So it's happened over and over where the stronger guy has waited for the weaker guy in individual stages for sure.
But the amount of attention of bad like publicity for Jumbo, because they're they want good publicity because they're looking. I guess they still don't have a new sponsor, but I mean they have every right to decide how they want to race their race because they're their own team, it's their own company, they can decide. But then you're going to have to suffer consequences. Do you really want to do that and see what happens? All the negativity around it, because that it was taking a chance if they won a third Grand Tour with Roglic or Vingegaard under the circumstances where they took it away from Sepp, was going to not be the story, the same wonderful story that came out of this to have Sepp win the Vuelta and 3 different riders to win all 3 Grand Tours and then to sweep the podium. I mean, I got really engaged. I got really engaged. I don't follow Twitter that much. But it was easy to follow a lot of what was going on from the different riders and former riders that chimed in about their not liking the way Jumbo handled, especially the Angliru stage, and how they could look back and see Sepp there and just was Sean Kelly. I mean, you'd think that his opinion maybe carries a little bit more weight than perhaps others, but well, actually, Twitter is called X now, which I don't understand why they changed Twitter to X. But anyway, I was like, I kind of shifted. I thought, wow, yeah, I think they should ride for Sepp, and then also I think Sepp should, if it's such a unique opportunity for him to be in that position, which who knows when they'll come in. When you look at trying to win a Grand Tour against the Remco, Evenepoel, Teddy Pogacar, and Jonas Vingegaard type, riders. When will this happen again? I don't know. So I'm so glad that they reined it in and came around him and unified it, and that maybe that I don't know how much the public had influenced that, but
well, we think it was huge. Based on all I think
it did reading. Quite a bit. Yeah.
And actually, it was interesting because I watched the interview the breakaway stage where Ola was talking to Sean Kelly, and first Sean didn't want to say anything. He's like, and then Ola's like, hey, this is what we pay you for. This is why you're here. Give us your opinion. You are an expert in this. People trust your opinion. People really want to listen to you. Tell us what you really think. And then he was still pretty good about it. He said it's a load of baloney. He's not the kind of guy who's gonna go out there and give explicitives and stuff too. But he was very clear that it was not okay. And then Adam Blythe and Dan Lloyd were there too, and they both were like, yeah, I mean, this is exactly what we think too. It's like everybody's in agreement, and so like you said, that most of the commentators and people were really saying that too. But I did see enough stuff for sure that
I saw a few people saying things.
But it was a huge, and especially among the the traditional cycling followers, too. They were very much like, this doesn't make any sense. Why would people do this? People didn't understand necessarily that. And then Roglic didn't help himself at all. Vingegaard was very much more.
Vingegaard, yes.
His response was, every time I want Sepp to win. Why'd you attack him? I want Sepp to win. Or I'll be very happy. Why'd you attack him?
Yes.
Roglic would even.
I gain more respect for Jonas and less respect for Primoz, even though probably the way the meetings were and what they discussed up to that point wasn't directing them. It's people said too. Why didn't the directors have a more clear vision of how they're going to do it and why they so yeah.
But Roglic though was very clear that he wanted to win, and he kind of he would say, I want Sepp to win, but at the same time he said I'm going to attack the hell out of him. I'm just going to keep going for him all I can. And then he goes, I want Sepp to win, but I'm going to attack him every chance I get. and then even when the team told him not to do that anymore, he said, I'm not happy about this. I'm happy that Sepp's winning, but I'm not happy they won't race. And he said it in a way that was somewhat nice, but his PR personally he definitely was. And again, I have issues with that too, because Sepp has stayed with him many times when he's struggled, and he was almost like this year when Roglic was saying, "Hey, Sepp struggled, I can attack him," like that, like it was okay. And it's not okay if Sepp attacked him when he was.
It wouldn't have been okay then. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But he's like, the racer in me just wants to win. I guess got to go out and try and win. And he seemed like Jonas basically was okay with sacrificing. He goes, I know I could be doing better. I probably could win this race, but I'm okay following team orders. And Roglic was basically like, I'm not okay following team orders. I'll do it because you're paying me to do it, but I'm not okay with this. And that was tough. That was tough.
Yeah.
No,
so
I didn't him too much because they did fall in line eventually, and they did do what they're supposed to do. But it was not. I'm sure those meetings were. And actually, too, then Sepp too, and even in the public comments, started. I mean, they showed him saying to Roglic, "I don't feel comfortable with this." He basically said, "I don't like that you attacked me," and Roglic was kind of like, "Yeah, I can see why you don't like that."
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was interesting to see that on camera. Yeah.
But Sepp being such a nice guy, even like at Angry Lou, he was like surprised that he was still in the red. It was his birthday too.
Yes. I know, right? And that was Vingegaard's.
But he was still always. Yeah.
It was his excuse for winning one day, which is my daughter's birthday. Yet he wasn't. I think it was. But he didn't say that. Oh, well, it's land. It's it's Sepp's birthday. He shouldn't win. My daughter is more important to celebrate her birthday than it is for to celebrate Sepp.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, it all kind of got smoothed over, and they got to spray champagne on each other. And
yeah,
but you said there was a rumor, or I don't know what. They're all under contract for at least a couple of years, right? But,
Roglic is. Through 2025 he's under contract. Yet I saw a rumor today on GCN, and there was GCN was doing their weekly show on Mondays, and I watched part of it today, and they said that there was a rumor that Roglic could be going to Ineos. So and it'd be very expensive to do that. because they'd have to pay a lot of money to Jumbo to do it. But they're the team that has the money to do that too, and they're desperate.
Jumbo needs sponsor lined up. Like you would think they would be easy to get a sponsor for the team that wins all the Grand Tours and has some of the best riders on the planet. But
there was rumors about that too.
Cycling's a funny business.
The rumors I had heard before that Middle Eastern money was the most likely sponsor for Jumbo, which is sad. But but then there was also rumors when Sepp was leading, they're saying that's really good for Jumbo because it may be an American sponsor that may be stepping in, and this might seal the deal for any potential American sponsor to have an American winning a Grand Tour for the team. So, because it's interesting because I was just I was listening to several stories recently about Bahrain. Civil rights, there's human rights were so bad and stuff too recently, and how they're trying to whitewash or greenwash or whatever it is, sports wash their image, along with the UAE, sports washing their image, and they weren't specifically saying cycling in this NPR story, but they were talking about these Middle Eastern countries that are trying to put a ton of money into sports to make their image better too, and so to have another team besides these, yet sponsored by Middle Eastern money is just we didn't need any money to make the sport work, but it's too bad that it's coming from places that's kind of dirty money in some ways.
Right.
Not that anybody's necessarily clean. I mean, everybody's got issues.
You can't. I know. Yeah. It could be from companies like even is it Ineos?
They're a petroleum company, right? And Ineos is
I mean, there's a lot of
actually, there's been
companies
huge
that aren't doing.
Because Shell sponsors the British national team now, and there's been big protests about that too. So, just having oil companies sponsoring teams, So.
Right. Yeah. I could dig into a lot of that and
watching too much Ted Lasso, where they stopped being sponsored by whatever Dubai Air because they were ruining the coast, and it's always more complicated. It's nothing simple.
Sure. Right. Yeah. Well, anyway, it's a phenomenal achievement. Super great for us. I have a high school friend, John Seaman, in Colorado, who lives there, and we're talking about the Deion Sanders impact of being the coach and the attention there. And I asked him if he had heard about an American winning the Tour of Spain. He didn't hear. He's in Colorado. Wow, and Colorado. I thought they had something on game day. I don't know. I think he watched SportsCenter. I don't know, but he didn't know. So it wasn't big enough news that it even got to like a non-cycling fan that's tuning in for football.
I do listen to BBC World News, and they all day long on Sunday, because I was driving in the car back from the Gran Fondo National Championships on Sunday, and they kept announcing every hour, and the top stories for the day was, one of them was Sepp Kuss winning, the American Sepp Kuss winning the Vuelta. So of course it's British,
BBC,
yes, but it was broadcast on NPR stations nationwide too. So there was, so there definitely is getting some publicity for sure. And my guess is that NBC, CBS, those kind of stations on the Sunday night news might have said something about it too. But you'd think, right? Yeah.
Well, I thought there was. I saw something on game day, whatever the football game day, that there was something that flashed up, something about Sepp winning. So I can't verify that, but it's. I mean, I tell people that most people don't even know there's other Grand Tours besides the Tour de France. So
right. Yeah.
Yes. But in the cycling circle, I mean, everybody's who's not happy.
Right.
Even the whole peloton, everybody's happy about Sepp to win this Grand Tour, and he's such a quality guy and nice guy, and nice guys do finish first sometimes, so that's good.
They showed after his crash, when Geraint Thomas crashed and he crashed over the top of him in the Tour at the end, right? Was it Geraint Thomas? Who was it from Ineos who crashed? But anyway, someone crashed and Sepp rode.
It's always a good chance that Geraint Thomas crashed, but it might not have been. Yeah.
Because Geraint did the Giro and he did this race, so he probably didn't do the Tour too. Yeah. So so it was someone else from Ineos. But anyway, Sepp crashed over the top of him. Although I think if he could have lifted his front wheels a little more, he could have not crashed. I didn't see the video of it till this, but he was all chewed up. That's the scar he had over his left eye that was still had a sterile strip on it. Like 2 days before the end of the season. But they showed a picture of I think Adam Blythe took the picture of Sepp after that crash, after that stage, like an hour afterwards. They cleaned him up a little bit, and he was giving interviews out of the back of a support vehicle, still chewed up, beat up stuff too. And
Yeah.
they're like, almost everybody would have been like, hey, I got to get stitched. I guess he'd been stitched up at that point. He had stitches, fresh stitches, but I got to go get, out of these clothes and get ready for tomorrow's stage. And yeah, he was still sitting there giving interviews. Just
Right.
the kind of guy he is.
Well, yeah, and two, there's an article in Velo News. Is it called Velo News anymore? Anyway,
Just Velo.
It's not Velo. On how Landa, I mean, that was a turning point, of impact. How he helped bring Sepp to the line at the Angliru and keep the red jersey that day. But also, I mean, Sepp had to sprint around him to get the bonus sections, and then right after he went to Landa and like apologized to him. Yeah. So. Which
makes sense though too, because Landa, who knows how fast stuff could have went without Landa, but he did sit on Landa because it was his job. He had two teammates ahead of him.
Yeah.
He did take advantage of him. And normally in that situation, if it wasn't for Sepp being the red jersey, Sepp never would have passed him because it wouldn't have made a difference in the overall because his two teammates were in the top two. So I can see why he, feels like he needed to apologize. But it's great that he did that, because a lot of times people don't feel that need to be, use proper etiquette in that situation.
Right. Yeah. Well, fantastic story. Super happy that we can.
And you talked to him last time. You said, "Can we still interview you?" And he said yes. Right.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll get him on.
Doubtful, but yeah, I don't know. He says he's going to stay humble. Let's see how he does. How much attention.
If he comes on the Warren Cycling podcast, then we know he's true to his word. We'll see.
Yeah. I was gonna say. Oh, I know. I don't know. This picture, another picture at the beginning of the Vuelta, I put history in the making on my Instagram post, I think, with Sepp.
Yeah.
But I was thinking of him. I don't know how many Americans have ridden 3 Grand Tours in one season, or 5 in a row like he has. But it was pretty prophetic, because it was really history in the making of him to win the overall, of course. But
I think Tyler Farrar did he ride 3 over 2 seasons, maybe like the Tour and the Volta and then the Giro the next year, something like that, maybe, or something like that, but not in the same year, maybe.
Yeah. Check that. I mean, Sepp's got 5 in a row. I don't imagine he'll go back to the Giro. I don't know what they're gonna do if he has aspirations to win something. I don't know. It would be more convenient if they did like have money problems and Ineos wanted to put up the money and get him over, because it would make racing more interesting to have Roglic on a different team and to go head to head. Roglic, Vingegaard,
and
Tadej Pogačar and Evenepoel.
Yeah. So. And if Bernal can come back, of course, who knows? But there's and then who knows who else, too. So they're right. So it could be, yeah. Huh? I don't know. So I'm sorry. I don't think so. I was looking at Tyler Farrar. He won stages at the Volta in 9 and 10, in the Giro in 10. So he did the Volta
Tour in 11.
Tour 11, right? Yeah. So he did the Volta in 9, and then he did the Giro in 10. At least he won the stages. So then I guess if he did the Tour in 10, I can look in 10 real quick too. If he did it, then he did 3 in a row. Volta.
But not 3 in the same year.
Oh, he did. Yeah, 3 in a row. Yep. So he did the Volta, the Giro, and the Tour in 1 year. So.
Not the same year.
No. In
consecutive. Yeah. Well, Sepp's done 5 over.
That's crazy. I know. Yeah. No, I know. I was saying that even close. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's He's durable. He's a great climber. He's super good teammate, and now a Grand Tour champion.
Yes. I don't know if you watched the Tour of Slovakia, if you saw any of that, but I had to look back to see where it was. But Colby Simmons played behind 2 top sprinters on the stage there. Colby Simmons' brother. Your development team.
What did you say? Colby Simmons did what?
He got 3rd place behind 2 top sprinters like Tim Malier and someone else at the Tour of Slovakia.
All right.
I mean, we always try to catch up with what Americans are doing in different races, which Joe Dombrowski didn't get to see him much in any breaks. Sean Quinn made it. He finished his first Grand Tour, so that's great for EF education at a young age. But then also we saw Larry Wehrbass. He got in.
Yeah. Got a couple breaks. He was in one really good
breaks.
one with Evenepoel, and he said it's just so hard. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Evenepoel apparently, not only is he super strong, but he's super aero. And when he gets in his aero position, who was it? One of the other guys was saying it's like going behind a motorbike.
Yeah, I think it was Romain Bardet. Yeah, said that he was having to work just as hard behind Evenepoel as he was in front.
It's crazy.
So, yeah, it is. He is. He's narrow. He's small, very smaller in stature, and although I think he's getting a little more broad-chested as he gets older, though, too. So it makes it tough. So I just checked real quick. It's Tim Miller and then Case Bull from the top, and then Kobe Simmons. Yeah.
Crazy, huh?
Yeah, and Kobe Simmons did well in the overall too. He was 8th, I think, in the final GC. Let's see. Oh no, that's not true. I'm sorry. The last stage he was 8th, I think. The seventh. I thought it was the GC, but no. So yeah, he had a good.
Yeah, he had a couple of good results there. Yeah.
It's tough to
otherwise.
So it's hard in Jumbo-Visma to
development. He's on the development team. But is he moved up to race the full team, right?
It says he's on the development team signed through next year, but in this race it just said Jumbo-Visma, it didn't say development team. So I don't know if you're on the development team, you can come up and down. I'm not sure how they work that out with the maximum number of riders they have available. But maybe if somebody is, what if they have an injured reserve list, they can put people on and call people. I do know they call people up because I know, specifically people on Israel Startup Nation, or whatever it's called now, Israel. They it moved people from the development team up to the regular team to race back and forth too. So
wait a minute. Look at stage 5. Am I looking at that right? Stage 5 in the Tour of Slovakia?
He was 7th in that one.
It was 7th? Okay.
Yeah. Kasper Asgren won. Tim Miller was 3rd. Kobe Simmons was 7th.
What was he in the GC that day?
Overall in the GC, 19th.
Oh. Okay. Oh, okay. It was the first in the youth category because I saw him at the top. I was like, wait, what was he? What was he at the top in the youth category? All right.
Yeah, actually,
very good.
He must have ended up number 1 in the youth category. He was the overall winner. So.
Oh, he was. Oh, he won a jersey. Wow. Very good.
Javier Serrano from Iolo was 2nd, 5 seconds down. So he's the jersey. Yep, you bet. I remember Rebecca Much won the best young rider at the UAE tour, I think, one time, or one of those Middle Eastern tours. So and she gave me the jersey. I was like super stoked. It was so cool to have the best young rider. So yeah, it's a good thing. Any jersey's great.
Oh yeah, for sure. So I wonder if next year he'll be moved up to Jumbo, and we'll have, I don't know what they're going to be, all the colors they're going to be wearing, but then Sepp Kuss and Kobe Simmons, I'll be 3 Americans on that team.
Perhaps, yeah. I mean, he's definitely riding well. It says on his contract he's signed with the development team, so they can probably do what they want, move him up and down. Or although I'm guessing there's probably rules as far as how many times you can do that and stuff too, or for how long. At least I know, like in baseball, it's super strict rules in terms of like how many times you can move people up and down from AAA or how long, and the pay changes for those guys and stuff too, based upon if you one day in the major leagues, all of a sudden you get the minimum salary for something. So it's like probably different in UCI, but I'm sure they have rules about it, and what they can do. But there's more and more teams have development teams, which is great too, because then it gives people a chance to race, so instead of having to be like on a Trinity, and then move to a World Tour team, you can be on the Jumbo-Visma development team, and then if you move back and forth, it gives you a lot of opportunities.
Seems like Aja de Jour runs a good development team, but there's one that the riders that are really good on the development team get snatched up by other teams. So they're developing the riders and then they're moving.
Yeah, BMC had that issue for a long time. BMC actually disbanded their development team because they kept losing all their development riders to other teams. So there was actually, they're talking about that too on the GCN show too, about with transfers and stuff like that too, and that you develop riders and then you lose them, and should there be a any kind of competition?
You should get something for it. Yeah.
Yeah. So there is, I guess, right now, but the competition is like 2,000 euros. So it's not very much. You get 2,000 euros if you develop somebody and then they move to another program. Yeah. So it's not much. But you're right. There should be. And so I actually looked up real quick what the free agency was for European football, because they said this is so much different than other sports leagues. And I thought, don't they have free agency? Because it seems like every cyclist is just a free agent. There's nobody, that you can't, that's locked in your system, But it seemed like European football was very much the same thing, that once your contract's up, you can just go to whatever team you want to. But if you want to go to another team while you're under contract, then that's when you have to be bought out and that kind of stuff, which is the same thing happens in cycling. So I'm not sure how that was so much different than what they were used to in other sports.
Interesting. Well, we didn't talk anything about the races that occurred in North America, because that was like a long history ago. But we had a UCI race in Maryland. It was a super dynamic race, flat out racing again. Neilson Powell's riding really strongly there as well. Sometimes he's second.
He was third last year, second.
He rides too strong. Yeah. Sometimes he's too aggressive still.
Yes, he's yeah. I think he's the strongest he's ever been this year by far, and he rides like he's super strong, but he needs to maybe hone that in a little bit, because even at was it the Montreal or Quebec race, he attacked or he brought back a break and then he went right at the end, and he said
that race, the Quebec race, you have to wait really long to go because it's a difficult long uphill and you got to wait. He didn't.
He said if you would have waited one, he said if you waited 1 more kilometer, you might have been able to hold it off, but he just a little too enthusiastic. But it pays off a lot. I mean,
he's feeling good.
He still does, even in San Sebastian this year. What was he, fourth? He said he makes these moves, and like he was. I'm not sure what
he's racing at the front, and he's active in the race. So that's still always good.
And he's able to.
It was.
He pulls it off a lot of times too. So it's like it's.
But it was Skelmos, Matthias Skelmos, the Danish rider from Lidl Trek, who won, and it was early in the season that Neilson Powell just barely beat Skelmoza, and that it was a stage race, right? Yeah. And I wasn't familiar with Skelmoza at the time, but a lot more familiar now. He won the Tour de Suisse, didn't he? Yeah,
he's had a great year.
A phenomenal year. Yeah,
and he's been super strong every place he's been. Yeah, so he's for Lidl Trek, right? So he's
Lidl Trek. Yeah,
he's and then who just signed Theo Gegenhardt. So
because Lidl, Lidl, is a grocery store, but when they say it Lidl Trek, it makes it sound like Little Trek, like it's small, like Lidl. But
they were talking about
I don't like their logo and their jerseys at all. I used to think Trek Segafredo had one of the coolest looking kits. I like there's a lot of their colors in that, but now Lidl Trek's my least favorite kits. But anyway, and then who was Adam Yates in one, right?
Oh man, he won the second one. Is that the Quebec one?
In Montreal?
The second one,
Second one's Montreal.
And Brendan McNulty.
It was Arnaud Delis.
Yes.
Arnaud Delis won those for UCI. He's got big
he came out of nowhere. He sat and then destroyed him in the sprint.
Yeah, well, that's the way you have to do. You have to wait all the way to
But last year, how that race was won though. Last year, that was won by someone taking a flyer who tried to take it again this year, but too early and it didn't work.
Yeah. And then
But the Montreal race though, Brandon McNulty drove. I watched the end of that race. Just drove the pack for kilometer after kilometer after kilometer. And then Adam Yates came up to him and said, "Can you work just a little bit harder for me, please?" In the end, so he pushed it a little bit more, and then Adam just took off.
Really?
It was UAE played it.
So he was riding for Adam, but he was not quite riding it as hard as he needed to for Adam to win. And then
he was breaking. The field was dwindling a lot under McNulty at that point. It was getting really small. But Adam's like, "Yeah, I need you to go just a little harder." And so he went up there and he pulled for another 100, 200 meters, and then Adam just took off. Yeah, and won. So, but it was great teamwork.
Adams had a great year.
Yeah, McNulty was super strong too. I mean, it just worked out to. I mean, maybe Adam would have won anyway without McNulty, but with McNulty, it was set up perfectly. He did. I was really proud of him. He set up really well too.
I think at the same time the Sepp Kuss struggle with his teammates helping him was same right around where Tadej Pogačar helped a teammate win by marking a guy and not attacking and pulling him up or whatever. Did you see? I think it was Mark Hirschi, right? Mark Hirschi's won a couple races.
Hirschi's been having a good season. Good end.
Good finish. So, yeah. Well,
so we talked about Nelson Paulus. Where he was. He's 20th right now in the UCI rankings, but actually 20th in the Pro Cycling Stats ranking too, which is weird that they're the same because normally they're not that close to the same.
Yeah.
But that
helps the Olympics too, right?
Yeah, but also just shows too how well he's been racing. So he only ended up 20th in Quebec, where he thought he could maybe have won if he would have played it differently too. But second in Maryland, which is a good race. He got 150 UCI points for that, so it's huge.
What did he do in Montreal? Because last year he crashed in Montreal.
He was 33rd, so he still got 10 UCI points. So.
All right. Well, I know there's a few other races we could probably talk about, but it's getting a little late here in Germany. I had a great ride today. I rode one of my favorite routes.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful weather. It's in the mid 70s. And this is a long, gradual downhill or gradual uphill, depending on which you go. It's called the Whispertalstrasse. And it's just a really wooded area. Just a couple of real tall, small towns you go through. And I think from one end to the other is almost not quite 20 miles. But during the week, there's not much traffic. If you go on the weekends or holidays, there's lots of motorcycles they like to ride. And so I don't like to do it then because all the motorcycles. But no, today was perfect. So
what bike you
nice
on?
I have a Specialized Epic bike frame that came out of the 90s.
Do you have two Specialized Epics or not? Is this the same one we talked about?
I had two, but Taylor sold one.
No.
My son sold one in San Diego that I had where he's cleaning up stuff. So, it's one of the first carbon fiber bikes. I think I mentioned that before.
Yeah, we talked about this recently. Yeah.
Because it has like aluminum lugs or something. They were making carbon fiber bikes in the beginning, like they were making steel bikes or whatever, where they just had lugs and put the carbon fiber in between them instead of molding them like they do now.
Yeah. The monocoque. Yeah. So.
Anyway, happy with the ride. So we like to always finish off with the birthday list. And I just saw number 3 on the list. Happy birthday today on the 20th of September to Marlene Reusser, who won the European Time Trial Championship. She's celebrating her 32nd birthday today.
Yeah, and she's actually, so Vladimir Karpets too was the second place person. Is 40. Mine's different now. So.
Mariano Martinez is number 1. He's 5.
But Reusser is so there's a lot of big high point scorers today. Sometimes we only have 1 or 2, but there's people in the. I mean, Marlene's 4,714 points. That's pretty good for third. So.
Right. Mario Martinez does not sound like a very French name, but his nationality is French.
But Lenny Martinez just
Yeah.
So.
But he won the KOM, the polka dot jersey in '78 at the Tour de France, and he's won a couple of stages of the Tour.
So he's actually the grandfather of Lenny Martinez. So he is. Yeah, Miguel's his son, and then Lenny's his grandson.
All right. Yeah.
And they actually have Yannick, his son, was a racer, and Martin, his brother, was a racer. So it's quite the
Martin
family.
Martinez.
Yeah, Martin Martinez.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. Yeah. Eric Larson is 43 today. Swedish rider. He was didn't he really good time trials? Yeah. Second in the Olympics in the time trial.
Oof.
He won a stage at the Giro. Second in the World Championships too.
Which Olympics was the second? Was the second? 08.
Yeah. 08 would have been Beijing? No. I remember that one after Athens.
Yeah, no, it's Beijing. You're right. Yeah, Beijing.
Beijing? Okay.
Yep, Fabian Cancellara won, and Levi Leipheimer was third. Contador was fourth, Cadel Evans fifth, Sammy Sanchez sixth, Sven Tuft, Michael Rogers was eighth. Wow, that's a strong group.
That's your Sammy Sanchez won, right?
The road race?
Yeah. We can go off tangents really easy, can't we?
We sure can.
Stefan Denefield's birthday. He's 36. I don't know, when did he retire?
I don't know.
Anyway.
Scott McGill's birthday today. First American.
Scott McGill, happy birthday. Yeah. All right.
Looking for a job, probably. He's on Human Powered Health this year. So he went from wildlife last year to Human Powered Health this year, and only 25 years old. So he's just in the beginning, of the peak of his career. So hopefully he gets a chance to keep racing.
Dingman's 43, Willie Schuler's 85. Willie Schuler. Oh, I thought that was an American. I've got it on my phone here, and
Willie Schuler? Yeah, he's Belgian, I think.
Oh, look at you.
Oh, no, he's German. I'm sorry, he's German.
Oh.
German. But he sounds really familiar, though, too. He's 85 years old. I think somehow he must be... He's prominent in my mind for some reason, so... His biggest win was third in a stage, the Deutschland Tour in 62, so...
Maybe someone else that sounds like him before.
Maybe.
So,
yeah.
All right, this is time when the rest of the listeners are very tuned out as we ramble about some random birthdays, but it's always a pleasure to talk to you, Randy, and catch up, especially to celebrate a little bit, talking about Sepp's historic win at the Vuelta. And yeah, it's already fun to look forward to what's coming up even next year at the Olympics. So, and especially looking forward to you racing in Italy at gravel. It's gravel, right?
Yeah, gravel world championships. And the good thing about that too is that everybody's there too. So it'll be not the juniors, I don't think, but the masters and the elites. So I race on Saturday, Sunday. The elites will be going, so I'll get to focus on watching the elite race. Although I did have a rider just ask me if I coached them just for the day on Sunday, so I might end up being focused on a women's masters race as much as I am on the men's and women's elite races too. But it'll just be fun.
Should be some big names from the professional peloton, probably.
I know. What if I play that right? If I coach her for the day, I wonder if I can get a coach's credential to get into the start grids and stuff like that too. And so I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. All right. Good to look forward to. All right, Randy. Thanks a lot. Talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, Dean.
All right. Bye now.